We got it. Wait, but God, come on. There's so much more. I'm in the lead right now. God dang it!
No, you're not. I should be in the lead.
No. Listen, I'm crushing you, you Godcaster. As we get back into this though, and I try to desperately dip and dive my way around DJ Flame, we got a Rumble Lulu locked in. So let's talk about that, huh?
Rumble Lulu are the lock-ins here. We look at the bans as Lotus heads back over to the blue side here. It's going to be Fiddlesticks, Volibear, and Nautilus taken away. Lee Sin, Udyr, and Thresh are the bans coming through for WyoBoomers. And it's interesting here that they take away the Udyr, which was not super successful for Not Yoshi in game number 1. They take away Lee Sin and Thresh here, but the Rumble prioritized by Lotus once again worked wonders for them in game number 2, made it a lot harder for Ezreal to exist in that game with all that long range damage along with all the engage. So I like that early approach. It was comfort for them in game number 2. They're going to head back to that pick, and the response here is an early Lulu and now a Zac. We know that Wiccahouse likes the Zac. It's been something the WyoBoomers have turned to before to teamfight in. Leona Jinx.
This is really smart, actually. I like this.
I'm interested in the Leona Jinx. I think it's good into Lulu, although you can just get kited out on Leona if you aren't level 6. And you don't see the 80 carry yet. But I'm a little nervous about the Zac because that is really, really easy to get in on a weird angle against Jinx.
Yeah, Zac is going to be something that is going to be problematic throughout this entire game. It's not something that most people are super used to playing into. A Lulu Kog'Maw also gives Wyo a consistent win condition, which is more potent, I dare say, than the Leona Jinx, especially with Kog'Maw's ability to backline and the fact that Lotus really only have that Rumble.
Yeah, Lotus do only have that Rumble right now, and I really like this Kog'Maw. I want to see them ban away some things that can really affect Kog'Maw. Instead, they're going to go for the Lucian here in the mid lane, maybe a little bit more focused on JVL's pool as Trinity Silas, they're banned away. That was the big problem for them in game 2. Problem, a little bit relative here, considering the dominance that they had, particularly for Waffle Wheel. As the rest of the bands come through, Yone and Victor, so more focus on these mid laners. They really want to get Trinity and JVL off their comfort. We'll see what the R4 is here. I want a little bit more tanky, I would say, for Wyo. You've already set up a good lane for Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw Lulu's really hard to play into. There's the R4 Orianna. This is a classic Trinity pick here. I like this. It's hard to counter pick. It's good for the ball delivery system on Zac. Lovely stuff there on R4. And you've taken away 2 very good matchups into the Orianna as well. So this is all good stuff for me for WyoBoomers. What is the Lotus answer going to be?
I think it has to be an Assassin right now because Wyo have a really good team fighting composition. It's very front to back, and you need something to warp the team fight. Gnar is nice. Gnar gives you frontline. Gnar is flexible, and he gives you side lane as well. But I don't think it's quite enough.
Yeah, we know that this team is fantastic, Lotus, when they do get that front line. We saw it last game when Waffle Wheel and JVL have protection. Man, they can pop off. Waffle Wheel's stats are fantastic. His kills are fantastic when he has that protection. You actually look at his gold and his CS differences. He's not that far ahead in the early game, but come around the 30-minute mark, the 20 to 30-minute mark, he streaks ahead of most of the competition here in Heavy League. That is where it really comes. And there is what you wanted, Dia. The Assassin going to come out of JVL. This is a Diana, and actually could even flex the Rumble Diana here, depending on what you want in the mid jungle. Love to see this. It can get that backline access onto Kog'Maw. Super hard to deal with. And the Malphite will be the answer from WyoBoomers for Papa Francesco. I like this as well. I got to say, I really like what we're setting up for here. A lot different than we've seen in the last 2 games. This is team fighting at its finest. This is scaling at its finest. These teams want to go in. They want to disrupt that backline. Waffle Wheel on the Jinx and Palm Goat on the Kog'Maw. Likely going to be the big focuses in this game for their teams, right, in these big team fights. And they have protection. They have tanky bodies. They have engage. It's going to come down to that critical team fight execution that we always love to talk about. And we've seen it time and time again with these two teams. They love to team fight. WyoBoomers have been good at this from the dawn of time here in Excellency. Can Lotus match them? We know Waffle Wheel loves these situations. It's his turn to try to prove that he can step up against Palm Goat in these situations.
A lot of this falls on the back of Rumble as well, because Not Yoshi, although new to the Lotus roster, has been performing really well. And these Rumble ultimates are going to be the thing that largely determines how easy these fights are for Kog'Maw, the star of Wyo.
Yeah, the Rumble ulti is going to be critical to disrupting Kog'Maw, right? You want to displace him, make it a little difficult for him, but I think the Rumble ulti needs to be placed perfectly, and I don't even know if that's enough. The thing I really like here about this composition is the Lulu, right? Because it sets you up in lane to not get shoved in by Jinx. It makes this lane actually winning in the first couple levels for WyoBoomers. Double ranged into melee range is going to get the push. It's going to get priority. So you have that for your jungler early on in this Zac who needs protection to scale up. And secondly, when Diana goes into the backline, you just polymorph her. It takes away so much of the potential engage coming through because you can then flash away from Nara. It just gets rid of one of those engage options and gives Kog'Maw a better chance to dish out the DPS. So I like the Lulu. I know that Birdman's going to be quick on the trigger with that polymorph. I think it shuts down a little bit of Lotus. So I do agree that the Rumble positioning will be critical to try to disrupt the Kog'Maw, because if it's not, you're looking at great ball delivery system here, Dia. The Malphite Zac Orianna, tale as old as time, and we have seen some huge ultimates come out of Trinity in the past. He will have every which way he wants to get this ball into a critical spot.
We've thought about the team fights quite a bit, and I haven't given quite too much thought to the lane either, because as much as I'm looking at Trinity to dominate the team fights, to try and find these crucial ultimates with the help of his top laner, a lot of this comes down to the laning phase as well, and he can't be falling behind to JVL here.
Yeah, he can't, but it should be a very positive laning phase up to level 6, as most are into Diana, right? Ranged versus melee with that ball control, you're going to be able to dominate, get priority, and the priority, again, I think will be critical to keeping Wickle House alive and on a healthy clear here in the jungle. Rumble far going to outpace him in that clear, but Rumble's not necessarily an invading jungler, right? You have to take that W at level 1. He's actually usually a jungler that gets invaded at level 1. So with the prio from the bot and mid lane, I expect Zac can scale up here to his level 6 mark. The question does come at level 6, Dia. When this Diana ticks that ultimate, the Moonfall, you're going to have to flash away. You're going to have to play it safe, and it will be critical for Trinity to get to that stage without dying too much so that those shockwaves are impactful. The team fighting is available, but that's Trinity's wheelhouse. This is where Trinity succeeds time and time again.
It's not just Trinity, though. It's also Palm Goat in the bot lane. Remember the Kog'Maw that we saw before? Remember that Kog'Maw? We can't have that again.
We can't have that again. Fortunately, I think this Kog'Maw much better set up for success. We talked about the fact that Waffle Wheel just didn't quite have the peel. He didn't quite have the front line in game number 1. And our boy Palm Goat has it here. He's got the protection. He's got that classic Kog Lulu lane. Again, I think the teams both here got what they wanted in this draft. I think they both feel very good about what they have. A lot of this is going to come down to who is going to play it better in the lanes, in the team fights, regardless of what it is. And I wouldn't ask for anything more from WyoBoomers versus Lotus. These two teams have been at each other so evenly matched throughout all of Excellency's history, and they're going to do it again here to determine who takes this series in week 5.
In just a short minute, they will be indeed going at each other's throats on the Rift. Let's toss it over to a quick break so that Necrox and RMC can pick it right back up and the battle can begin again.
Hello again and welcome back. It is time for Game 3 between Lotus and WyoBoomers. Game 1, Wyo steamrolled their way to victory. Lotus, basically the same formula in Game 2, just under a different organization title. Game 3 will break the deadlock. Here I am joined by RMC to break down the action and maybe have a little bit of fun along the way.
Yeah, you know, because apparently breaking on the action and fun, mutually exclusive for the most part, or so I've been told, but not in this series here. And I do think it bears noting how the series has played out. Game 1, as you mentioned, you know, WyoBoomers, they drafted themselves a team fighting composition, press R, go in. Game 2 was Lotus doing that. And now in Game 3, both teams have decided that, you know what, that works. We're both just going to press R really hard.
Wait, what? Why does Palm Goat have boots and one biscuit? Or sorry, not a biscuit, a health pot. What is going on?
Got 4 pots. He's
is
going
it 4?
sustain.
Oh, okay. My thing is a little pixelated. It's 4. All right, we're on the Jin technology. I thought it was 1, but I can't see. I am blind. That is why I do play-by-play. I call the big explodey thingies, and you give me the numbers and the details. We have boots for a little bit of movement speed. I actually haven't seen this technology yet from a Kog'Maw.
Well, basically, the way this works here is you pick it into a lane where you think you win the 2v2, where you think your Kog'Maw can output more damage than the enemy ADC and support combined here. It's a little risky into this Leona because of the passive, but as long as you kind of avoid the initial upfront burst, with the Lulu here, you just run down your target and W them to death here. So we'll have to see if it works out. I'm expecting to see it kick in maybe level 3-ish after that initial big threat of Leona is a little bit more mitigated.
Yeah, especially with the Glitter Lance to help you chase down targets. Not sure what ability Birdman had started, but regardless, all of Lulu's abilities are so critical to this matchup, and I'm excited to see Palm Goat on the Kog'Maw. Last split rather, we saw him a lot and really frequently on the support of AD carries. The attempted level 2 is there, doesn't find very much, but this time it's more of a carry performance. You love to see it, and they've really indexed pretty heavily here into him. It is a protect the Kog'Maw composition through and through, whereas Lotus definitely have more of an engage, run at you full-on team fight style.
And hey, if you play your cards right, maybe we get the Juggernaut and Palm Goat might actually be able to frontline. I mean, you've got a Malphite Zac, not necessary, but we do want to see it. It's still fun to watch.
I remember you telling me that all you needed was the Orianna and we could get Juggernaut, and I'll be damned, RMC, we got the Orianna. You're a prophet on many levels, my friend, and this is certainly one of them. JVL will try his hand at a trade on the Diana mid. We again had another conversation about the Diana Rumble. DJ, I know, mentioned this on the desk as well. Could have flexed. The gank potential for Rumble is not as high, but the lane threat from the Diana is high as well. So it's just a trade-off here. And Yoshi performing well on it last game. They're going to give it to him right again.
Now we do see top lane trading a little bit here, chucking rocks being a rock, but eyes drawn more to bot side, but the junglers have met up a little bit here, and Wickelhouse forced back in. Trinity taking a massive beating though, is low on health, and look at the roam up from Kiwi and Yoshi. They might just die this.
Yeah, this might be really problematic, or instead, it's going to be problematic for Wickelhouse, who will find himself looking at a double scuttle. Meanwhile, Waffle Wheel had just recalled, so there's no threat of a dive on the AD carry. This is so well played from Lotus. They're going to win on multiple parts of the map at once.
I agree the play is good. The problem is what happened here, and it's no fault of theirs. Wickelhouse and Birdman are looking down bot. Because Wickelhouse had to forfeit that scuttle, he's down stealing and invading, and now Waffle is alone 1v3 as a Jinx.
Tell me I caster curse this. I said Waffle recalled. I expected him to give up this wave. Trinity's gonna get flashed on in mid though, and our eyes have fooled us. It's Trinity that dies first, but now's the time for Waffle Wheel to follow. He's under the turret. Palm Goat's tanking, man. Juggernaut feels real good, and somehow he survives the final turret shot. Kiwiism on the roam down will not be able to find anything on the back end, and WyoBoomers will find a 1-for-1.
All the boots, man. Got him out of that turret in time. Not actually. WyoBoomers, they answered back, but notably did not get first blood. That did go over to Yoshi here. So Trinity, a little bit on the back foot in a lane that's already going to be a little bit rough here against that Diana. And if Trinity steps up here, we might see that gank repeat. They needed 3 for the dive, but without the turret there backing them, they just need 2.
Just needed the 2 to make the play, and so 1-for-1 across the board. Yoshi on that rumble, we were just mentioning it. gets that aggressive maneuver in mid, picking up first blood. So the gold will go their way as Palm Goat gets one. And yeah, there's a couple scary threats here, but WyoBoomers, that is exactly where they want the gold. This Kog'Maw heading the front line with gold is really a dream come true for them, and I'm really excited to see not only a Kog'Maw pop off, but Palm Goat in particular.
Yeah, and that's still a ways away though. At this point in time, yeah, it looks good in that 2v2, but or that 3v1, but you had a massive numbers advantage. The question is, can you do that when the numbers are more even? And with the way a Kog'Maw works, you need time to scale up. You need the levels here. Your Zack's not going to be able to beat the enemy Rumble. Your Orianna's not going to beat Diana. So Palm Goat and Birdman, ideally what they want to do is just play safe and or have a ton of vision to make sure they don't get interrupted.
Trying to hold the freeze as best as they can. Our Palm Goat and Birdman, this one will shove back out, though. You can see Kiwism thinking about just full-on threat there, but won't be able to find it with a Zenith Blade. So Lotus will have to hold on for now. And Palm Goat's, I wouldn't say greedy start to the game with boots, but certainly one that gives you an advantage if you find it. Has already completed the boots because of it. Wicklehouse shows up in mid, but Waffle Wheel might just get run down here. Man, he is speedy with these Berserker Greaves and style on him with the Jordan's Palm Goat will. He will lose his life in the process to a nice TP from JVL, who cleans up on the back end. And WyoBoomers, they get one more kill. It goes to Birdman, but they'll lose their AD carry in the process.
That Birdman take was unfortunate to say the least there. If you're committed, if you're going to go down, you really want it on your AD carry. Thankfully, it's not the end of the world. You did manage to burn the teleport from JVL here. There's only the one left on Accelerate, and there's opportunities here to make a play. We've not seen Wicklehouse really get a, well, I want to say gank. He did technically gank the bot lane, but I want to see more even ganks. I want to see Wicklehouse play that early game with the Zac from those oblique angles here where you can't really see him and try and make something happen, especially in his bot lane.
Would be nice to see Wicklehouse get involved earlier on. We saw in game one, that was the plan, and it was executed pretty well from WyoBoomers. Fight at all costs, and they did exactly that, and it ended up netting them a pretty convincing win, to be honest. This time, though, Wicklehouse playing a little bit slower, just going to naturally lose in farm, though, because of the slower clear that Wicklehouse has. Yoshi will run over him, and he's doing exactly that now in the jungle.
It's hardly fair to compare the two. I mean, one's got a flamethrower in a jungle. People are gonna die.
Okay.
The other one's literally just a blob of jello. What is Wicklehouse doing? Kind of just drowning them in jello?
And Jax has a weird lamp that he bonks you upside the head with, but at 35 minutes, it still one-shots you, so your logic doesn't hold up there.
I mean, 35 minutes, I think that jello can maybe start killing some champions, but as it stands right now, Yoshi being a little greedy here, but getting away with it because there's no backup. Wicklehouse is top. I don't think they had the vision, so this is just a brute force play.
And this is just Yoshi declaring what is his, and he will take it indeed. 59 to 47, 12 CS down now is Wicklehouse. Looking to return this one, though. He's in the blue buff of Yoshi, so it's going to be a cross-map trade. Overall, not too bad. I think Trinity actually ended up picking that blue buff up, so we'll help out the mid lane here at JVL. Now going to have to deal with the relentless push, but he's got the push, and they're looking for a dive. But now they're going top side. My eyes were in a different direction. RMC Accelerate will just die immediately, but this is a play I was curious about. JVL was looking down here with a push in mid, but they won't be able to find it, so WyoBoomers come out on top.
Really well played. This is what I was talking about, getting that vision, wanting an isolated lane here, because Palm Goat and Birdman have done pretty well into Waffle Wheel and Kiwiism so far, and they know that Lotus is going to be looking bot side, because that is that one carry condition we were talking about. The desk, recognize that Kog'Maw basically is the big point of WyoBoomers. Shut down the Kog'Maw, you shut down their composition here. But it does come at a cost. All the attention you're spending bot side is time that people are not farming and not in their lanes.
Certainly, and a CS lead now has been built up for Waffle. I'm curious if we can get a quick check on the gold, because those plates are going to inject cash straight into the pockets. Look at that. It's actually not too big of a difference, but Gank gets up there from Wicklehouse. Doesn't find very much, but those plates have certainly helped out Waffle Wheel make up the disparity for the kill that went their way, and they're nearly knocking this one down in its entirety.
Yeah, and I mean, we see that every other lane they're losing in gold. WyoBoomers are okay with that. They don't need to be up in gold in any other lane. The fact that they're not behind for this Kog'Maw That's huge for them here. I don't know how much longer before we see the Juggernaut composition come online here. I'm usually expecting sort of a 2-item power spike, but it's on Lotus to make things happen. And so far, WyoBoomers have done such a good job negating a lot of that early action.
And the last point I'll talk about here for this Kog'Maw, and then we can sort of expand our horizons. But first, we're going to have to keep an eye on him right here on your screen because the Solar Flares drop down from Kiwi, but the re-engage might just be a little bit too strong. The Chompers will lock Palm Goat in place. Meanwhile, mid lane, JBL tries to die, but it doesn't work out. The TP is committed. Bot side will be all for naught as Palm Goat trying to get away. The flash away will not find it. Birdman has to use the Wild Growth on himself. Here comes the TP as well. Polymorph's going to be just in time. There's the unstoppable force on the Waffle Wheel, and Birdman will survive the cash to this Kog'Maw, and he is fed.
All I can hear in my mind right now, Necrox, is Daddy's here. Papa showing up on it. That TP was massive. And they tried to interrupt Trinity. That was already a really good play, but there's 2 TPs, and Accelerate TP desync was not able to match, was not able to push up fast enough. You're trying to get plates to answer right now, but we've said this before. It doesn't matter if your top is a hit, if your top is behind, pardon me, for Papa Francesco. It's all about the Kog'Maw.
And I think we're getting a replay of that one, and I want to see, I think Trinity tried to TP down and it got canceled. That's what I saw on my screen originally. Trinity now has to flash, so no summoners available. One more slow from Yoshi, has the equalizer. When does he drop it? Trinity has no shockwave. The equalizer doesn't find the right escape route, so Trinity will survive.
Trinity brought the dancing shoes for Orianna here. Guessing right, going the right direction there. And while all that happened, Drag was taken. Cloud Drake picked up by WyoBoomers here. It's not the biggest Drake for them, but having it on that Malphite, on that Orianna is going to be nice.
And I just got word that it was a flash ulti from the Diana. JVL hero plays to stop the TP from Trinity coming in. Doesn't matter though, Papa Francesco arrives and just slams them down. Grabs 2 more kills with the Kog'Maw. I was wondering, before that play happened, where the build was going for Palm Goat, and you're absolutely right about the Juggernaut. It's not a full DPS. Its wit's end is in. We saw this earlier on from Waffle Wheel. It is Palm Goat now picking up with that build and running with it, and he is finding great success.
And now that your bot lane, now that Palm Goat and Birdman are kind of in a really good spot here, they don't need the Mythic, so they don't have to sink as much money. You can kind of leave them alone. Wicklehouse can look top, can look mid. We saw the gank top, and they've got more than enough damage to pop a Mininar bot. They're still forcing bot.
Waffle Wheel
and Trinity
is looking for 1 more kill, but this should just be a free turret. Kiwism's gonna get executed. What are you doing? That's not the right play. Here comes the rest of the team by Waffle Wheel, immediately taken away, and let's bounce, baby. Wicklehouse putting you in a bounce house, bouncy castle. JVL will walk himself out. Slingshot will find the mark, though. Palm Goat has arrived. JVL keeping himself healthy. Kiwism on the back line. JVL not able to do enough. He will fall, and the passive will reconvene. Wicklehouse will survive, and WyoBoomers turn it around, grabbing themselves 3 kills. Well, 2 if you don't count the execute.
Yeah, they get 2 kills, but 3 deaths. I mean, Kiwism just tanking up way too much there, and that bot lane was forced. They saw Trinity and Wicklehouse coming, and they decided to brute force that. Yoshi, the boots are coming in handy here.
Oh gosh, the rundown is just so ridiculous. Palm Goat will get engaged on, though. He probably should die here. There's no way to turn this one around. Maybe the passive is enough, but Waffle Wheel's excited, and goodbye. They get themselves 2. They lose Yoshi in the process, and man, we're straight back to fight night.
We'll be able to get first turret as well on this bot side. It was already basically taken down in that last fight here. So Lotus, they're brute forcing. They're just throwing. It didn't work the first time. They just keep coming back to this bot lane over and over and over again. It's not a bad call if you're able to come away clean, but you're giving all these kills over the Palm Goat. And sure, they're losing turrets, but they don't really care. 4-9 right now is the score. And for Lotus, I can't imagine what the comms must be like for them. Are they stressed? Are they worried? Because they can't see that the gold's basically almost dead even.
Yeah, and it feels like they've been on the back foot. It feels like Lotus have given away too much gold to the Kog'Maw, but at this point in the game, at this moment in particular, especially come 90 seconds, Mythics will basically be completed for everyone for Lotus. And their full-on 5v5 team fight is really strong. They can just pull the trigger, they drop the equalizer, Kiwiism flies in, accelerate over the top as well. And if they find a Palm Goat who does not have a couple items, maybe even 3 later on, he can die and he will not kill everyone just quite yet.
For that matter, because they've got so much AoE, like you mentioned, Necrox, you don't actually have to tunnel that vision that hard on Palm Goat. If you can catch 3-4 members, even if it's not necessarily Palm Goat, you take that, because at this point in time, they're not tanky enough. Your upfront burst damage is going to be enough to take them down with the numbers advantage. Then you can dogpile onto that Kog'Maw. He moves fast, but compared to a Get Excited Jinx, not fast enough.
Yeah, the chase down will be legendary. I'm only waiting for it to happen, though. There's 50 seconds left on that dragon. You can see the vision control is basically split 50-50, but the recalls are coming through kind of late here for a Wyo, as Lotus will take their final ones. Waffle Wheel does not have that mythic completed, probably trying to pick up the last bits of gold now, so it can be as strong as possible if they do want to contest this streak.
And topside as well. Papa Francesco taking a beating here. The teleport's almost up, and he'll want to recall. He won't want to be coming in from base that low on health, or else I worry that he might not be effective, might not even actually get the unstoppable force, depending on what ward he TPs to.
15 seconds. Tick tock, tick tock. The Drake is on the clock, and Kiwiism is here basically by himself, trying to scrounge up as much vision as possible, but there's just too many members in this river to walk through. Tries to head forward a little bit more, but cannot do so until the team arrives.
Accelerate's coming in, Mini, no rage whatsoever, and Papa Francesco's ready to go.
Everyone's TPing in. The initial engage does not find it from Wicklow, so they'll have to walk away for now. That's a massive solar flare onto the back line. Look at everyone just evaporate, and Palm Goat, of all members, is the first one to drop. The Shockwave will get a little bit more damage, but they don't have anything left in the tank. Their tanks are on empty, and so is Papa Francesco's health bar. JVL's on a killing spree, and Lotus, quick on the trigger, will win themselves a team fight and grab that Drake.
Really well played from them. Their window was closing, but with this, they've just extended that window significantly here, and they get themselves the dragon as well.
That is perfectly done by Kiwi and Yoshi. That combo we were talking about, that AoE can find members, and this one is exactly what you needed. The initial engage doesn't find the mark, and there is Lotus waiting in the wings.
And watch this equalizer that comes out here. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like the solar flares coming out first, but they're coming out at roughly the same time. That requires trust in each other. You block off that corridor, and right away, while not everybody dies, they're instantly forced out the fight. And off the back of that, Dragon, mid lane turret, and as we come back to the main screen, Herald as well in the back pocket.
Perfectly summarized there, Mr. Random Minion Caster. Yoshi going to be able to pick up that Rift-tailed, getting a little bit more pressure. You would assume that one is going to go top lane to help push out what was a hard lane for Accelerate to deal with earlier on, but for now, he's doing just fine for himself. This Malphite does not care about the CS differential. He's always going to be useful, but unless your team is getting the one engaged on, Malphite has a really hard time at picking out singular targets and deciding, yeah, this is the man I need to ult, or this is the one member that's going to make the difference. Equalizer thrown down from Trinity, and yeah, he just walks away.
The shield actually absorbing most of that, but the equalizer it's still rank 1 at this point here. Roughly about maybe 70 seconds cooldown at this point, so it is fairly short, and without a major objective coming up right now, they'll be a-okay. Palm Goat getting solo time top right now is completely unanswered. I think Lotus kind of just let that one slip through the cracks.
Yeah, I don't think that turret should have been Wyo's to take, especially of all members. You don't want to give that local solo gold to Palm Goat, and quickly, if we could get one more check on that gold, I think this one is going to be the most important one to check of all. You can see Palm Goat has the Wit's End working on the Hurricane. There it is. That's all I wanted to see, really. 2 items in for Palm Goat. I would say that's the breaking point. Maybe you need one more to get through the really big frontliners of Gnar and Leona, but if you can kite around, if you aren't taken out by that initial burst, he's going to rain hell across your team.
That's just a level up in difficulty here. Lotus was playing intro bots before this. Well, actually, that's not really fair. They were playing on, you know, easy. They're now looking at advanced here. Your window is much more difficult
is that
to
PM?
put
Did you just say WyoBoomers are bots? Is that what I heard? Okay, man.
There's Doom bots.
that?
They can reach Doom bots level. I'm setting up the analogy here, Necrox. 40 minutes, we get the Doom bots, and then they're in trouble. But for now, this is that power drop for them, and we'll have to see, if Lotus can take advantage of that.
That is certainly a statement coming out from you, Mr. RMC. WyoBoomers bots confirmed, and Lotus, man, they are playing with their bot friends here on the Rift because Wyo finally have probably graduated from bot academy and now are moving towards the real threat stages. Your tanks have completed their mythics, so they are sufficiently tanky. Kog'Maw, Palm Goat on 2 items, and Trinity has completed the Ludens for that extra burst, working on what I imagine is a Banshee's Veil 2nd item with that extra little bit of magic resist, trying to steal away the red buff, but now Wickelhouse good on the trigger there. We'll take that one back, and Lotus will come up empty-handed after invading the jungle, but they'll grab the top tier 1 all the same.
Going to be matched by Papa Francesco in the bot side. They're not able to funnel this one to Palm Goat, but you can't get everything here. And as much as we focus on Palm Goat, we probably should also watch Lotus's counter to Palm Goat here, and that will be JVL on this Diana. An assassin beats an ADC here. So while Palm Goat is 4-3-3, JVL is 4-1-0 as well, with this rocket belt to reposition that much better. We saw it last fight. If JVL finds Palm Goat, fight's over. And for the next fight, we have to continue tracking that here.
Gonna have to continue tracking where all the cooldowns go. It feels like every cooldown from Lotus is so important. The Solar Flare, the Equalizer, even the Gnar ulti, and of course the Diana, as you were talking about. Everyone can make the difference because there's really a singular carry threat from WyoBoomers. So if they find that engage, it could be deadly, and we're gearing up for one more fight. It's a 5-man push through this jungle entrance.
Arrow dropped in the bot side to apply pressure here, and WyoBoomers, they have to decide if they send anybody up there. If they do, they need to make sure they all go together, because if you're split there, Lotus can always pull the trigger. They've got engage tools of their own.
They have engage tools, and they have everything they need for now, which is really just river control. Is Wickelhouse here on the front line. Initial zap goes forward. Papa should look for this one. There's the Equalizer into the Solar Flare, though it doesn't find Palm Goat. He's still alive. Trinity taken down to about half HP. Here comes a re-engage to the backside, though. Accelerate trying to peel for his carries. How much can he do, though? The Wild Growth is using to Wickelhouse, flashing over the wall. Papa Francesco will die. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the fight, Waffle Wheel is flashing forward, trying to find kills, but he's been polymorphed. He goes a little bit too far, but JVL will suck everyone back in and punch them into the grave. Palm Goat gets one, but it does not matter. Lotus will take their team fight 5-2.
The patience on this, man. My goodness. The moonfall right at the end there. I was waiting the entire time. You hear me going, JVL, because where was the moonfall? It was where it needed to be. They get a clean ace here. And if the last fight extended their pocket of time, their window here, this one puts them in a great position. They're at soul point for an ocean soul here.
That was wild and so cool to see from Lotus. That team fight looked so good. Not only the patience on JVL, but the decision making from the carries. Look how quickly this one starts up. It feels like it's out of nowhere.
Pretty much. And they were both clumped, but look at how the outs land there. Papa Francesco, Trinity, they only get 2 members. Whereas when I'm watching for Accelerate here, Accelerate's getting into the middle of everybody. He's getting a ton of damage. And then JVL, again, just watch here. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. It's finally here. It took all frigging fight.
And Waffle Wheel having the courage to flash forward to get enough damage onto Palm Goat. Everyone from Lotus stepping up big in this critical mid-game team fight, and that sets them up nicely for the upcoming objectives. For now, they will get some mid lane priority, rotate on over to the next big objective that is online, and it's the Baron.
Now, normally it's once bitten, never try. Once bitten, twice shy. Twice bitten, never try. Third time bitten, you're gonna go die. So for WyoBoomers here, they can't afford to get hit 3 times in a row by these team fights. If they lose at Baron like that, as you kind of pointed out, it is game over. They need to set up a bit better. They need to not clump, and more importantly, they need to apply pressure here. When you have a Juggernaut composition with these tanks, it's not all about peel. Wickelhouse and Papa Francesco need to find ways to keep mostly JVL and Accelerate off of Palm Goat here. Waffle Wheel is not the main problem. I know it's kind of weird for them because they usually focus on the ADC, but they're trying to take out the threat the assassination threats first.
Yeah, and it's all about that initial CC. There's not really much you can do about Kiwism, so I absolutely agree. You basically just let the Solar Flare drop. After that, you need to get these assassins off your backline. Palm Goat having to flash defensively there makes a difference in the team fight. Waffle Wheel then gets to flash forward. JVL comes in and cleans up the kill with a flash of his own, and Lotus, therefore, can run a team fight that really WyoBoomers can run if they play it a little bit better. But critically, RMC, I want to take one more look at the game state. Well, we said team fight after team fight have gone the way of Lotus. Look at the gold. It's only 2K. Lotus, yes, they've been wiping team fights, but it's not like this game is anywhere near out of control for WyoBoomers. They still have everything they need, including now 3 items on their main carry.
Oh, Crocs. I mean, while you're talking about gold and all that, you're right. But I just saw what Palm Goat bought, and he went with the Guinsoo's Rageblade. And with this build, I really don't like that. I don't think Rageblade is efficient unless you've got multiple on-hit items. And Runan's isn't really it here with that Wit's End. I'd rather see the Kraken Slayer come through. That would max up your attack speed here, and then you're good to go. It's not like there's a big tank on the other side you need to shred. You don't need the Blade of the Ruin King here. And it doesn't feel optimal to me. I don't know if he's going to be able to survive this next fight here. They're setting up for this Baron. They've cleared out the vision, and Accelerate and JVL, and most notably Yoshi, is not here.
They're not anywhere around this, so Kog'Maw does this one pretty fast. Blue Trinket going to be thrown down there by Waffle Wheel just to scout out, make sure nothing crazy is going on. And the itemization there from Palm Goat is important to keep your eyes on as we get into later fights. Last time we saw the Kog'Maw was in game 1, and it was a defensive build. He went for the Randuins. In game 3, Palm Goat is going for full damage, and he's going for a Baron killing build, and that's exactly what they're doing. Lotus have no idea, and they are asleep at the wheel, RMC.
Yeah, and Waffle Wheel back on in full vision of a ward as well. So this is just a free giveaway here. I can't believe they just got that. Now, we were talking about a 2K gold deficit for WyoBoomers. It's just been closed by 1.5, and they get to push in. There's a lot of standing turrets here. All the inner turrets, they should be able to siege that up.
And I don't know about you, RMC. I'm pretty sure you cast standing up, but I just sat up and got a gamer pose in my chair because this game just went from Lotus controlled to Wyo controlled in the blink of an eye. Lotus lose Baron from nowhere. They're going to grab a blue buff as WyoBoomers will approach this ocean drag through bot lane.
Yeah, they don't have any control though, and I feel like it's a repeat of the last fight here. If you don't have vision, you can't fight this, and all of Lotus is ready to go. Baron's great for pushing, not so great for the combat fights.
10 seconds left till it spawns, and I've got deja vu, but this time WyoBoomers are breaking my dreams. They are making a move further into the river. You need to make sure you're not caught out. Palm Goat has his flash and his cleanse if he needs to be able to kite away. Watch that initial engage, just waiting for one member to pull the trigger. There it is. The equalizer to the backline. Pop for Francesco is going to be 1v1ing Waffle Wheel. Shockwave under 3 members. Massive damage. Into the wall goes Palm Goat, and he is going to get Accelerate on the back end of the fight. Yoshi now running away. Pop for Francesco still very healthy. Half HP. Rocket from Waffle Wheel won't do absolutely anything, but it finds Trinity. It's a miracle shot, and now he's excited. He's kiting forward. One more zap. JVL will pull in everyone, and the Zac passive will just be extra gold. Triple kill to Waffle Wheel. God damn, make it a quadra. Lotus, turn it around and take Ocean Soul.
It's cool and all that, but Necrox scumbag Kiwism took the kill. Penta was taken by the support. That's highly unfortunate.
Man, he could have had a Penta. It feels so bad, but he doesn't need it. Waffle Wheel is no Penta gamer, but he gets a beautiful snipe on the back end of that to get excited and kite forward. That is a 1 in a million shot from this AD carry. You wanted him to fill the shoes of Alistair. That's how you do it.
And those shoes looked real big before. They're starting to look right about the right size here. Waffle Wheel wasn't where our eyes were watching in the earlier fights. It was all about JVL. But now, you know, with that Kraken Slayer, the Lord Dominix as well, there is a big threat. And suddenly, for WyoBoomers, before I said, forget the Jinx, look for the Diana, look for the Gnar, you don't have that option anymore. And suddenly, the game got exponentially harder for Papa Francesco, for Wickle House. Where are you looking? Who are you targeting? And how are you protecting Palm Goat?
He's got a stopwatch now to buy some time, but he can't move with that. It's not a flash. There's no way to reposition. Wickelhouse looking for an engage. Two-man Malphite ulti in the mid lane, and they've got Waffle Wheel immediately. Here comes Equalizer. A burn down into Birdman as he will drop. Palm Goat's going to be next, and they have no way to carry. They have no threat. Triple Shockwave just to retreat. WyoBoomers on the run. Wyo get one, but they lose two.
More importantly, they can't hold the turret well right now. Everything's on Trinity's shoulders, but the engage with a Leona, with a Gnar, if Accelerate's Rage Bar is full, they just need to walk away and give up this turret.
Accelerate with Ocean Soul as well in his back pocket, and there's just not enough Grievous Wounds to be able to fight this one out. Accelerate looking to hop forward with a Wallop Crunch. Over the wall comes Wickelhouse. The engage is in the middle of everyone, but he's sacrificing himself just to buy more time. JVL will drop turret aggro, and the turret is just about to fall. You have to run. Waffle Wheel's going to respawn any second. He's going to be sprinted down the mid lane. This could be game over if you're not careful. Inhibitor could be the target, but instead Lotus want to back away. They have cracked the base, and now it's time to retreat.
Well, they got me sweating, Necros. I wasn't kidding when I said Accelerate's Rage Bar is full. Everybody needs to back up. I don't care that at this point you're a ton of Jello. Yes, you might smolder anything else, but not Mega Gnar here. They can tank you for days, and they've got enough damage. Baron under 2 minutes before it's up. Elder and 3.5 minutes.
Oh my gosh! That's the Guardian Angel gonna be popped. That's Palm Goat. That's your carry, man. You can't be caught out like that. And he is just dead. Kiwi is a man. Take it away, my friend, because Lotus have dropped the singular carry of WyoBoomers, and look where they're at. They're in the base.
Waffle Wheel is walking up. That's all they're waiting for. The moment that Jinx shows up, it's game over. There needs to be, there's no hero play available. The Unstoppable Force is gone. Wickelhouse with Shockwave, maybe? You've got to find the right targets here.
You got to bide your time for Palm Goat to get back alive, or Lotus are going to take themselves a 2-1 at the end of this series. Siege is on from Waffle Wheel, laying down the rockets onto the first Nexus turret. Shielding is in. Waffle Wheel, so much damage. He's now excited. Going to drop Nexus turret number 1. Lotus know that Palm Goat is up in just about 5 seconds, but what can they do? Massive damage from Trinity. There's a Shockwave on the 4. Equalizer across a couple. Trinity's just dead. Trying to find the engages. Wickelhouse, but he will drop Solar Flare onto Palm Goat. He can't move, and there's nowhere to run. When Lotus find their mark, they do not relent, and they take the game in dominant style and will send Wyo packing.
They don't fail to deliver here, Necrox. Lotus and Wyo, you know you're in for a good time. And games 1, game 2 might have looked kind of one-sided, but game 3 was a banger to the end. Wyo just altering ever so slightly, the Boomer bones, Boomer hands kind of kicking in, and just small mechanical misplays cost them everything.
And you can talk all you want about itemization and slight knickknacks, lane phase here and there, but man, those team fights were on a knife's edge for so long. One rocket makes the difference in one. JVL biding his time, a flash away from Palm Goat, and a flash forward from JVL, and Waffle Wheel turn everything around. And this one certainly delivered. I'm glad I got to be here with you, RMC, because it was an absolute amazing series to host.
Absolute banger here. And you know what? I feel bad for WyoBoomers because it just continues feeding their 10th place right now. The fact that they only picked up the 1 win here. They're better than this. Honestly, they play this another, best of 5. Maybe they can win it because they're that close. But huge props to Lotus. Lotus, they're looking a lot better than I remember from what I was watching of their VODs last. But
yeah, I mean, looks like they found the winning recipe, and unfortunately the narrative for WyoBoomers is so close, yet so far. But Lotus will take themselves a 2-1 victory on the evening after an incredible performance from the carries. We'll send it on over to the analyst desk to break down what happened in this series and what happened across the league.
All right, welcome back, folks. I, for one, DJ, am left with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth after that series. I think that RMC sort of summed it up really well, that this was a series that Wyo could have won very easily.
Yeah, but I think, again, that just speaks to how...
again. Frog bonk.
Yes, but I feel that just speaks to how close these two teams are, again, and how close they have been throughout Excellency's history, right? This is sort of becoming a classic matchup here. In the past, we used to have Lotus versus Vlad Banners only. Now Who Flashed That Fight, of course. And really, this WyoBoomers Lotus series continuing to deliver this time around. Lotus taking it in the close 2-1, getting a little bit of vengeance for that best of 5 that they did drop in the quarterfinals. And as you mentioned, they're balanced on the knife's edge, really, in that game 3. Game 1, very much in WyoBoomers' favor. Game 2, mostly Lotus, I would say. And game 3 came down to some execution in team fights. We saw a little bit of overdive coming out from the Boomers. Waffle Wheel hitting a long-range rocket to get some resets, some insane engages from JVL, but so very close throughout. It's just Lotus finding the edge today.
Yeah, that was really nicely done, and especially from JVL, who we talked about it in that fight over Seoul, literally won them the game multiple times just by finding access onto the one win condition that was drafted for the WyoBoomers.
Yeah, I think when WyoBoomers go back and look at this VOD, they'll recognize a couple of issues with some of those team fights, in that the team fights look good on the initial engage, but sometimes when Zach and Malphite are going in that far, Papa and Wickelhaus too excited to take down Waffle. It's fine to take down Waffle, but when you over-engage like that, you're just inviting JVL to jump onto your win condition. All you got to do there is split the fight a little bit and then peel back, kite back, let your Kog'Maw do the work. It didn't quite happen. Pongo didn't quite find enough time or access, and they were taken down on the turns from JVL. And credit to him to finding those splits, to finding those gaps. And that's where the difference comes in this game 3. That's where the series win comes in. We'll have to see if WyoBoomers can bounce back later on. But I will say, at the very least today, WyoBoomers looking a lot better than they have throughout the split. And that does give me encouragement that they'll be able to climb back up the standings and contest for a playoff spot again.
Oh, absolutely. This is, I don't think, the last that we've seen of this squad. And even though, like you're talking about, they are ranked pretty low right now, I hold out hope. But I do want to take a brief moment to update us on the rest of the league, because this isn't the only series that's ended tonight. We've still got a few in their process, of course. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the other series that have gone on, because Who Flashed That Fight did finish against Sparta Prime. It's worth noting, Sparta Prime took a game off of Who Flashed That Fight, which is no small feat. And not only that, they did it with a 17-kill Samira. It was so keep that in your mind as we look for Boost's success to make his re-debut onto the stream. Who Flashed That Fight, though, did not take that sitting down, as their own mid laner, Dumwell Gaming Donut Maker, showed up next game with a 10-kill Echo, 1 death. The guy was insane, and in the first game, of course, Baka got to play his signature Sejuani, and they ended up taking that series 2-1 for Who Flashed That Fight. The other games, of course, are still going on. We've got some odd stuff being thrown. Actually, let's see. New Age Frost did just finish, literally as I'm speaking. And they had a pretty close series against LBK Lemon, going up 2-1. You've seen this one, and AoE God Squad are still going up against Gamers for God. After having a nearly perfect game in the first one, Gamers for God managed to clap back in the second, and it's anyone's guess who will come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, when you're battling for God's favor, you got to put it all on the line. So we'll see who comes out in that one. But some impressive results across the board here. Who Flashed That Fight in Sparta Prime, near the top of my power ranking. So credit to Who Flashed That Fight for keeping themselves on top there with a 2-1 win. We'll see if they can bounce back. And honestly, a nice win for New Age Frost. I think LBK Lemon is a strong team as well. So props to them for picking that one up and keeping themselves in contention. But I think we had probably the banger series of the night here, likely Dia, between these two teams. So very close. And we do, I believe, have an interview set up with my definite MVP of the series, particularly game number 3 here. I think JVL is waiting for us with the casters.
All right, we'll toss it over then.